Hello everybody, my name is Pawan Badlani. Welcome to day 3 of this handwriting and signature analysis training. Today you are going to learn about baseline, speed, slant and sizes in handwriting. So first let us understand what is the baseline. The baseline is the imaginary line running from left to right at the same level. It is on this particular imaginary line that letters rest on dividing upper and lower areas while moving forward towards the right. Basically on a blank A4 size sheet of paper, whenever you write something, the formation that you write in, whether it's going straight, it's going downwards, it's going upwards, right? That is the imaginary line that is called the baseline. So the baseline serves the purpose of dividing vertical placement and to directing movement. It represents your reality right now, your threshold of awareness, basically how aware are you as an individual, foundation for movements and living attitudes towards your life experiences and activities, basically talking about your mindset, talking about your thought process, talking about your emotions, how you feel about different things in your life. So graphologists believe that any vertical placement above and below the baseline is a division between two realities, like intangible and tangible values, abstract and concrete concepts, philosophical and physical ideas, personal beliefs and personal relationships. Any movement horizontally along the baseline represents your reaction to experiences, your living values, your time demands, and your learning. The right motion means going towards the right hand side whenever you're writing anything on a blank sheet of paper is to advance, to expand and progress, and the left motion, right, is to revert, constrict and regress. So let me give you a brief definition of what is the baseline. In analyzing a handwriting, let us first take the baseline. If you are given a blank paper and asked to write, you will write on a line which is imaginary. Not all of us write in a straight line, and not every time that we write on a straight line. The imaginary line on which we write is called the baseline, as simple as that is. Now, the question whether one's handwriting goes uphill or downhill or stays even are connected to the baseline. The interpretation of baselines come from the universal concept of up versus down. Baseline reveals attitudes about reaching our goals. Secondly, the kind of mental energy that we have, that we apply to our life situations. And third, our general moods, our feelings and our emotions. Now, ideally, there are 12 types of baselines, but for now, let's discuss 4 of the most common ones. First one is a stable baseline, which is a straight baseline. Cautious baseline is an overtly straight baseline. Healthy baseline, true ascending, means it's going a little above, right? Quitter baseline, it's a false ascending, which is going down. Let's have a look at these baselines. So a stable baseline is a straight baseline. If someone maintains a straight baseline, we understand that the person as one who is stable in outward behavior, even keeled and level. It indicates a consistent and controlled behavior exhibited. Straight line is a straightforward path, and its meaning is a firm, unchanging foundation. Its positive qualities are straightness, discipline, willpower, constancy of purpose, realism, and responsibility. Its negative aspect impact is inflexibility. Basically, someone who is extremely disciplined by nature, someone who likes to follow a particular set of routine in every single aspect of their life would have a stable or a straight baseline. So just notice over here, absolutely straight. In everything we do, we maintain a discipline. We would appreciate. So someone who is an army professional would have a straight baseline. Someone who has a routine, a fixed job, something which he or she has to do every single day at a certain time, that person would have a straight baseline. Kids who have had extremely strict parents, and if the child falls astray, or somehow maybe does not follow the rules and the parents scold a lot, so then the child has to follow a certain pattern. So then in that particular case also there is a straight baseline. Next, let's talk about a cautious baseline, that is an overly straight baseline. If someone maintains an overly straight baseline, that person reveals over control to compensate for an inner fear of loss of the control. When anything is overdone, it is usually the opposite of what appears to be. This particular person is an extremely sweet person, is hiding his or her hostility towards the one to whom he or she shows extreme reverence and sweetness. Anything overdone is to be questioned. Any extreme will not be the straight message, but has a hidden message opposite of what it purports to indicate. Basically, if it is overtly straight, even if it's not moving an inch or up or down, it's absolutely straight. So you actually cannot trust their behavior. You cannot trust their feelings, their emotion, their words, because they might be extremely sweet on your face, but behind your back, they might be plotting something against you, or they might have some kind of hidden anger against you as well. So you really have to think in that perspective as to what is a person's behavior exactly like. So if you come across someone who's extremely sweet but is hiding his or her hostility towards you, you really need to be careful. Actually, you need to check the handwriting of that particular individual, of somebody who is always sweet and is like a master at hiding his or her intentions. So you really need to check on that. So this is an example that is absolutely straight. Someone maintains an overly straight baseline, that person reveals over control to compensate for an inner fear of loss of control. So basically we are talking about insecurity over here, that this person does not want to lose control. This person fears that he or she may lose control, so that's why they try to show that absolutely controlling. I want things to be in a specific manner only. So in that particular way. All right. Now let's talk about a healthy baseline. That's a true ascending baseline that is going upwards. So a baseline that runs uphill all the way to the last letter and does not drop off in the middle or at the end, then it is a true ascending baseline. It is a very positive sign. It is an indication that the writer has healthy mental energy and can stay busy, active, and constantly on the go, involving many activities simultaneously. Research done on successful individuals in the world reveal that 90% of them had an ascending baseline. In short, it simply means that you will put healthy mental energy into everything. It need not necessarily mean optimism. Even people with depression could have an ascending baseline. It simply indicates that you will utilize all of your energy for whatever you undertake. It mostly coincides with healthy type of application of our energy Rising lines indicate rising in the world, surmounting obstacles and difficulties. Its meaning can be ambition, aggression, optimism, hopefulness, cheerfulness. Its negative meanings are excitability, euphoria, and choleric behavior. Okay, so basically, when we are talking about a healthy baseline or true ascending baseline, which is going upwards, so most of the successful people have that they are going to put in their happy, positive energy into their work. And as it is mentioned over here, that people who have depression can also have an ascending baseline. Basically, they are not letting themselves slip into that particular phase or that particular feeling of depression. They are applying that energy to come out of it. They are getting over obstacles and becoming successful and rising in the world. So as it very clearly says that you can be very ambitious, then aggression can be a little higher, optimism, hopefulness, cheerfulness. But its negative meaning says that excitability, euphoria, choleric behavior. Basically, somebody who would get excited at a snap, that okay, this is the greatest thing in the world, oh, let's do this, right? So that kind of behavior, if it is overdone, that can also fall into that negative strata, and that's what we associate with a true ascending baseline. That's a healthy baseline which is going upwards. But more often than not, it has more positivity than negativity. So in this particular example over here, all right, so let's talk about the quitter baseline, that is the false ascending baseline. Let's understand what this is. There are some people who start writing uphill but drop off at the end. They are quitters. They start with a whole lot of mental energy, whole lot of enthusiasm, but before they could achieve the goal, they retire. This type of handwriting is called false ascending baseline. It is true that it is ascending, but since it falls down at the end, we call it false ascending. It is an ascending that is false. So basically, it has a facade. It has a false appearance. A person who has a false ascending baseline is a complete quitter. This person may be enthusiastic about his or her goal as he or she starts, but before reaching the goal, he or she completely gives up. So have a look over here. It's going upwards, and then the sudden drop, it's going downwards, right? So anybody that you come across, even for your own self, if you have observed this, that you start some kind of project, dream, goal, mission, idea with a whole lot of enthusiasm, but then in the middle, somehow, if a single obstacle comes in, and then you drop off, and then you think that, okay, this is not going to work for me, then you would have a false ascending baseline. All of these characteristics can be seen in the baseline. So very carefully observe this. What you can ideally start doing is that take a blank A4 size sheet of paper, even if you have a notebook which is unruled without any lines, and start writing. The examples that I have shared with you, or the baselines that I have spoken about, observe what kind of baseline do you have. All right. Now, going ahead, let's talk about different speeds in handwriting. So basically, speed refers to how fast or slow a particular person writes. It measures how quickly or slowly an individual thinks and acts, the person's intelligence level. And finally, the degree of spontaneity and honesty. When we speak of speed, we are referring to the natural speed of the writer in thought, action, and reaction. All of us have an optimum speed at which we think and act most comfortably. if a particular person is forced for a long period of time to go faster or slow than the optimum speed, that will end up in a whole bunch of difficulties. So the speed tells of the intelligence and spontaneity of the writer. There are three things involved in speed. They are speed of mental imagery, speed of nervous impulse, and the tone and speed of muscular function. Your writing speed is controlled by your physiological clock. While writing, you subconsciously maintain a maximum stroke velocity. You constantly adjust the velocity function with changes in the stroke length, direction, duration, pressure, and acceleration. In short, talking about how fast or slow do you write. So these are different aspects that I'm speaking about over here: the stroke length, formation, the direction, the duration, pressure, and acceleration. Fast writing indicates inner energy, enhancing rapid movement, thinking, and reactions. And also, there are many times when you must have noticed that when you're writing extremely fast, it is also said, as per research, that your brain is working much faster, right? So then you're going at that particular speed and you're writing very, very quickly. So when we talk about rapid movement, thinking, reaction, you will react quickly as well if you are a very, very fast writer. Next, that children may write very, very slowly, but we do not expect the same to happen with an adult of average intelligence, because children would have a completely different speed of writing than an adult. When someone writes very slowly, the person is slowing down, becomes more guarded, makes more calculated responses. So do you see the difference? When someone is writing very fast, they just want to get things done very, very fast, very, very quickly, right? But when someone is going slow, the person is slowing down, is becoming more aware, is becoming more guarded, is taking more calculated responses. This particular person may be afraid that he or she may give himself or herself away by acting spontaneously. Whenever you write fast, it means that you are very fast in thinking and acting. You may often be extremely impatient. You dislike to wait for anything and even find out shortcuts whenever possible. Even if you're waiting in a queue and it's a long queue, that person would go crazy. That person would start thinking, why isn't the line going fast? What are people doing right now? Even when waiting at restaurants, when you want your food to come in, right? It's just been 2 minutes or possibly 5 minutes that you've given your order and you're wondering, where's the food? Where's the food? Where's the food? Right? So what I would request you to do is that take a blank sheet of paper and observe your speed of writing. You will come to know a lot about yourself. So as I was saying, that whenever you slow down, you lose spontaneity and you are calculating your responses to a much greater degree. This also works in the aspect of decision making. Therefore, graphologists look at the speed for assessing your honesty or discerning falsehood. Graphology has a way of finding out whether a handwriting is done fast or it is done slow. So there are 7 clues to know if one writes very fast or one writes very slow. If you are writing fast, your handwriting will tend to be having the following characteristics. So a couple of characteristics that I'm sharing with you right now. If it is sloppier than usual, so that is one tell that you're writing very, very fast. You take up more space than usual. That is another aspect that you're writing fast. The I dots and T bars are far to the right of the letter stem. The reason being that you don't want to take the time to go back to the left to dot and cross them. So if you see over here, this particular crossbar that we have spoken about, this is going far towards the right, and this particular I dotting which is going far towards the right, you don't want to take the time to go back. So, you're going extremely fast. omitting details in order to save time. So just want to write as quickly as possible. More importantly, if I want to give you an everyday life example, is that if you go to a doctor, right, and you get your checkup done, you get your prescription, have you observed how doctors write very, very quickly? Because they know exactly what to prescribe to you and what to share with you. So they are going very, very fast. Slashes and dashes replace periods and dots. The reason being that you take too long a time to make periods or dots. Basically, you don't have time. So you see slashes over here, right? So you just want to get things done quickly, and that is your main motto, that is your main intention. More rightward trends because the writer is moving in that direction and everything pulls towards the right. So more going towards the right hand side of the margin on a blank sheet of paper. So everything is going towards the right. And going towards the right as well also means taking up opportunities, becoming successful, and achieving fame. Squeezing. Since squeezing is easier than articulating the shape of letters. So you see, maybe you'll not be able to understand it very, very clearly. The doctor's writing example that I was sharing with you, right? So just squeeze it and write it. So it's like only you understand what you have written, but you know that, okay, this is what I am writing. The writing will be with light pressure and round letters instead of heavy pressure and angular writing. So that is also an indication. See, basically, when there is heavy pressure and angular writing, you're going a little bit slower. You're not going as fast. But when you want to do everything very, very quickly, the pressure will be lighter, the letters will be more rounded, and there will be a flow and smoothness that you will keep writing quickly, and your speed of your handwriting is very, very fast. Okay. Now, whenever there is an absolute sudden stop in the writing, it is a loss of spontaneity, which suggests that the writer may not be telling the truth. Basically, when you are telling the truth, you are in a particular flow, right? And you're writing, 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 writing. But when you want to lie, you're calculating, you're backtracking, you're thinking, okay, what should I write that the person that he or she is reading will get convinced? So a couple of signs of quick writing, such as some authors speak of the signs of quick writing such as connected writing, garland, wavy line and thread connections, broad writing, light pressure with thin stroke or thick stroke without pressure, simplified or neglected writing, irregular writing which does not have any pattern, right slant writing, right tendencies including extended end strokes, I dots and T crossings to the right of the stem or missing altogether, rising lines and broadening left margin. Everything moves towards the right. On the left margin, there is more and more space. So that is one particular aspect. In contrast to the signs of quick writing, the authors give the signs of slow writing. They are disconnected writing, angular and arcade connection and copybook writing, narrow and cramped writing, heavy pressure, enriched or complicated, elaborate writing, regular writing, upright writing or the left slant going towards the left tendencies, shortened or missing end strokes, I dots and T crossings to the left of the T stem or placed accurately over I and T alphabet, descending lines and narrowing left margin. These are a couple of examples that I'm sharing with you of slow writing. All right. Moving on, different slants in handwriting. So a handwriting can be just vertical. It stands straight on the baseline as though on 90 degrees. It can be inclined towards the right. It can lean towards the right hand side. It can run from being lightly inclined, thorough, very inclined to acutely inclined. All right. Likewise, a handwriting can recline to the left. It leans on the left side. It can run from lightly reclined, though through very reclined to accurately reclined. A handwriting can also go in all directions, whether a handwriting stands straight or inclines or reclines is to be judged against a baseline. So slant describes which way a handwriting leans or does not lean. Basically, you have already received a short introduction in the day one of the session about the right slant, no slant, the left slant, right? So we'll just talk a little bit in detail about this today. What does the slant reveal? It reveals the degree to which we express our real feelings and emotions to others. So if you clearly remember this, that if it is no slant, does not express as many emotions. Right slant, very expressive. Was a little bit more towards it is more inclined, right? That person over expresses as well. But after this particular no slant, if it's going a little towards the left hand side, restricted, does not open up very easily, takes his or her own time to open up, prefers to work with things over people. So those were a couple of aspects. Let's understand more in detail. So as I was saying, that it reveals the degree to which we express our real feelings, our emotions to others. Slant does not reveal to what level we have feelings, but to what level we are ready to express our feelings. It can also reveal truthfulness. In graphology, we generally do not make the fine distinction between feeling and emotion. All right. So this is vertical, rightward, and leftward slant. So let's have a look. Vertical handwriting, no slant. If our slant expresses the degree to which we express our feelings or emotions, then writing vertically will mean that we suppress our real feelings. We don't open up as easily. It means diplomacy, in which case we neither express nor repress, but suppress our feelings. We stay on top of things. We prefer thinking rather than feeling. It can also mean that we are oriented towards the present. Thus, anything to do with our present, our self, complete indifference, suppression, and diplomacy will be shown by our vertical writing. Basically, this particular kind of person is just concerned with the present moment. All right. And that person will think about oneself, right? Rather than expressing, they go into an overthinking mode as well. At times, extremely diplomatic in nature. Wherever there is any kind of expenses that are involved and the expenses are much higher, they don't like to be in those kind of settings or environments or be around people who spend way too much. They absolutely know what they want and they love to follow a strict routine, and they are very disciplined by nature. So if you can see, vertical handwriting example, absolutely straight. Next, let's talk about rightward handwriting. It's going a little towards the right hand side. If we write rightward, we express our real emotions. We are demonstrative, affectionate, passionate. it further speaks of the future, compliance, vision, and expressiveness. As the slant leans towards the right, the person is able to express his or her emotions. This particular person reaches out to others and will be willing to comply and work within the society. Of course, such a person will make an excellent relationship partner, especially if the writing is cursive with narrow word spacing. It is good to remember that right slanted writers are givers and not takers. Basically, these people are extremely warm. If you have come across people that are very, very sweet, loving, very hospitable in nature, who will think about you first rather than thinking about themselves, check their handwriting. They would have a right word handwriting. So we have spoken about right word handwriting now. Moving on, let's talk about left word handwriting. So if we write left word, if it starts like this, we tend to repress our real feelings or emotions. It may also indicate that we may think one thing and say another. So it becomes very, very difficult to trust a person who has a left word writing, because they may say something and think completely something else, or even in the opposite way, that they think something and they say something else, or act in a completely different manner. In left word writing, we avoid emotional involvement in a situation. We distance ourselves from emotional expressions or expressiveness. It can also indicate being over concerned about ourselves. So the mentality, what's in it for me? What am I getting? What is my benefit out of this? If you constantly think about these aspects, then probably you need to check your handwriting. Or if you know of someone who constantly thinks in such a manner, you may need to check their handwriting and see if they have a leftward handwriting or not. It can also indicate being over concerned about ourselves, being very materialistic and overly concerned with outward appearances. Am I looking good? If I say something, will it make a good impression? Stuff like that, right? If you know about people, or if you've come across people who think in such a way, or have even expressed that they think like this, check their handwriting. Definitely it is oriented more towards the past. So more often than not, these particular set of people would become extremely nostalgic by nature very, very easily. Thus, leftward writing indicates something negative about the past: fear, resistance, doubt, and repression. So anybody who also has a low self esteem, right? Someone who does not open up as easily, takes their own time to open up with people, do check their handwriting. So it indicates negative, past, fear, resistance, doubt, and repression. Moving on, let's talk about sizes in handwriting. So basically, size simply refers to whether the writing is large or small. Of course, there are many categories in size, like large, overly large, medium, small, or overtly small. It is an unfixed trade because everybody has different sizes in handwriting. Because depending upon the mood, people write sometimes small and at other times very, very big. It also depends on the paper on which they write. Usually, writing on a postcard, one's handwriting will be smaller than writing on an A4 size paper. But people usually maintain a certain size on the average. To study one's size of handwriting, we need to take several samples written over a period of time under different circumstances and then analyze them. Let us imagine a blank paper which represents the writer's total environment. The handwriting tells about the writer's interaction with the environment. It indicates if the writer reaches out or pulls back from his or her environment. Thus, the size of the writing will tell the following: whether this particular writer is extroverted or introverted. Secondly, the writer's present capacity for concentration, attention. Third would be self-image. Fourth would be intelligence. Fifth would be unhappiness. Sixth would be, is this particular person a deep thinker or a disturbed personality? And seventh is emotional investment. How emotionally charged an individual is, or how emotionally ready a person is to invest his or her emotions or to express his or her emotions in any particular situation, is what we can come to know about the size of the writing. So let's look at a few of them. Large writing. Now, anything large will attract attention in the same way a handwriting which is large attracts enough attention. So if you have a large writing, you do attract a lot of attention. Those who write large letters are extroverts. They cannot concentrate on small details. There is a great need for them to demand space in life. They so much wish to appear big and important. They are usually extravagant, lavish, ceremonial, prodigal, and luxurious. So if you have constantly thoughts like that I want to see the big picture, right? I want to make it big in life and nothing but the best. That's the mentality. Extroverts always going to social gatherings, always going out networking, always going out meeting new people. And people, you know, it's their oxygen. It's their oxygen. Being around people, people loving them, receiving a lot of appreciation is their oxygen. So they are usually big planners, see things in a very, very big way. If they are in charge of any work, they plan out things that are grandiose, which others may think are too great to achieve. Needless to say, how they would like to show off. So if you come across someone who is a complete show off, right, that particular person would have a large writing. Beginning with their gestures and whatever they wear will be a magnificent show off. Hey, did you look at my dress? Hey, did you look at the shoes that I'm wearing? Hey, just check out my watch. Hey, got these sunglasses. Hey, did you see my new haircut? Hey, did you check out the new computer? Hey, did you check out this new mobile phone that I have? They just want to attract more and more attention. Basically, someone who has grand plans in their life. They are boisterous and loud. Somehow, they would like to be in the center stage. So, examples of people: actors, salespeople, and politicians are large sized writers. Their profession involves extroversion. Practically all the world leaders' writings are big. So if you notice, this is large writing. So if you've ever felt that you want to be in the spotlight, but somehow you are not able to do that, increase the size of your writing. Make it a little large, from medium to a little large, and see the difference that it makes. Because your handwriting, your signature, the way you write, the way you sign, the kind of formations that you create has a great effect on your subconscious mind and your personality. Next, let us look at small writing. Okay, so it is the opposite of large writing. If large writing means extroversion, small writing means introversion. Introverts by nature direct all of their energy on themselves rather than on others and external objects or events. People write small letters for various reasons. First of all, this particular person wants to be a hermit, withdrawn from the external world, someone who would just like to be by himself or herself, does not want to interact too much. Secondly, the person writes small letters for concentration. So as one concentrates, as one focuses on the minute details, writing becomes smaller. As one concentrates on what he or she writes, the movements of the hand and fingers are restricted. So the writing becomes very, very small. Thirdly, it may be due to their low self image that people write small letters. So if you want to increase your morale, increase your self esteem, increase your self image, boost yourself a little bit, increase the size of your writing. Okay, so graphologists say that between 5 and 10% of people, on account of their inferior feeling, right small letters. Let me repeat that for you. Graphologists say that between 5 and 10% of people, on account of their inferior feeling, write small letters. People who feel a little inferior write small letters. Their sense of inadequacy in the world and life makes them write small letters. Basically, if someone has already thought that I'm not worth it and this is not going to work out for me, the writing becomes a little bit smaller. They feel as small as their letters appear to be. Yet, another reason for writing small letters is due to the sense of economy. These people want to save paper. They may tend to be economical in all facets of their life. It may be also due to the limited space that is provided. For example, signing on your identity card, you will write small letters. So, what are the kind of people who write small letters? Scientists, composers, authors, and mathematicians write small size letters most of the time. Their profession requires deep concentration, on account of which the letters become a little small. When the writing is small and well formed, it means that the person can concentrate on small details for a long time as well. See, it's all about your thought process, it's all about your emotions, it's all about the way that you feel that is expressed on paper. So, in the last line over here, if the writing is small and it is well formed, right, it means that the person can concentrate on small details for a long period of time. So people who can plan out the minute details extremely well to the last minute, they would have small writing. So scientists, composers, authors, mathematicians, even let's say someone who is a lyricist or someone who is a screenwriter, they need to focus on these minute details. Someone who's an editor as well, or rather a simpler example would be even a proofreader would have small writing. So this is small writing. And let's talk about medium sized writing. So medium sized writing avoids being rather too large or too small. It's in the middle. It is usually found in most people's handwriting. They're normally social, have an average ability to concentrate on things, except once a while, shifting the size of their writing depending on their mood, they maintain a medium sized writing. Medium sized writing indicates a desire for conventional or conforming. This person has a need to conform in all areas. Everything in their life has to, follow a set structure or pattern, that everything should be accepted, everything should be absolutely approved. There's a sense of fear of being rejected. It's plain and simple. Okay, if somebody he or she is giving them rules, yeah, okay, I'll get it done. All right, yeah, no problem. They are afraid to say no, or they're afraid to take their own stand as well. This is just one example point of view that I'm saying, that if you have faced issues with being assertive. Check your handwriting. You may have a medium-sized handwriting. So this is an example over here. All right. So if you have enjoyed this particular session, do send in a small text or video testimonial on WhatsApp on 9930826643 or 8928216871. I would request you to join my group Inspire Me by Pawan Badlani for exclusive tips on graphology and personal development. The link will be sent to you on the WhatsApp group. Hope you enjoyed day 3 and see you tomorrow on day 4, where we will learn about the different kinds of handwriting pressures. My name is Pawan Badlani. This is your host signing out. Thank you so very much once again. And I hope you learned something really, really interesting today. And I hope that you will try it out as well. That when you take a blank A4 size sheet of paper, you write something, you will watch this video and compare. See you tomorrow on day 4. Thank you so much once again.